Salute is a program for and about men and women who have served our country. Our program includes news about the laws that affect veterans, information on benefits and services, and news from veterans organizations. And now, our host, Bob Peters.
Hello and welcome to Salute. I'm your host, Bob Peters, and with me today I have the privilege of having a World War II veteran, Tony Piraino. I want to welcome you to the show, Tony.
Thank you.
You were Army Air Corps.
That's correct.
Well, part of that greatest generation. And that's...
Well, I hope it's lasting.
So tell us a little about yourself, Tony. Where are you originally from?
Well, I was born in Chicago, Illinois. Lived there with my folks until I went into service. And just before service, I was playing minor league Class D ball with Chicago White Sox in Shreveport. Played 38 games with them and got the call, and Uncle Sam said he needed me.
Oh, wow.
So, and from there on, it's just been Army, and after Army, just finding a normal way of life.
We'll get to that a little later about what you did afterwards, but how old were you when you went in?
I was 18.
18?
Yeah.
And you got drafted? Or?
Was drafted and took our tests over at Camp Grant in Illinois, and then volunteered for the Air Corps.
And you had aspirations, as everybody does, of being a pilot.
Right, absolutely.
And how did that work out?
Well, it worked pretty good. We got the uniforms. We thought we had it made, and didn't work out that way. Wound up in Kingman, Arizona, gunnery school. Saw the Grand Canyon a lot.
Really?
Yeah. With the Grand. And,
so how long were you there at the gunner school?
Oh, a couple of months, 3, 4, maybe 5 months, and that was it. And then got shipped out, spent some time in Gulfport, Mississippi at the base there. And then from there I wound up over here at MacDill Field in Tampa. And fell in love with Florida while I was there, and always wanted to come back. And from Tampa, went to Georgia, got put on a crew, and left for England.
Usually the crew stayed together, did they not?
Yeah, our crew was pretty much stable, and we were pretty much together. We lost maybe 1 or 2 guys on there and had to replace them both, but basically the picture that we had there was pretty much, that was the original crew.
Yeah, you had the picture. You want to hold that picture up and show the folks watching?
Yeah. Yeah,
now, I'm gonna see how good your memory is.
Yeah.
That's your crew.
That's my crew.
What's their names?
Okay.
You know them all, really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. This is Browning, George Browning, and this is Wally Warrisillo. And Yoakum, I can't remember his first name. And this was Joe Bedoin, that's myself. This was Peacock, Bombardier, Owens, the pilot, Medeiros, co-pilot, and Conley, the navigator.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. I remember.
Well, actually, you guys were together for quite a while for the most part, right?
For the most part, we flew all the missions together. Yeah. So we were pretty close-knit there until they discharged us and broke us up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you primarily were a tail gunner, you
I was
said,
tail
right?
gunner.
Is that a 50 cal?
50 caliber, yes, sir. Powerful guns.
Yes, sir. They sure are.
Yeah.
So you were telling me something, and most people don't know this. I didn't know because, well, it's long before my time. But you can actually, you were in the tail section, because it's real small.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it's really small. And you can, but you could get out of there. You could crawl out of there and go into the fuselage.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you stayed there, right?
Yeah, for the most part, during the flight, you didn't leave your position. You were there. And the nice thing about traveling backwards is you can see where you've been.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was quite interesting seeing that, you know. But takeoffs and landings, you're always in the main body of the ship.
So tell us about your first time in there, and what you thought about it. You were wondering what you got yourself into?
No, no. There wasn't really much arguing about it once you were there, you know. That was it.
Yeah.
You know. But the big thing was that they flying that first mission. We had the Tail End Charlie, which was the last ship in the entire formation of the Air Force on that one. And that was kind of a scary thing.
Yeah, I would think near the end or on the sides, you pretty much get attacked more so than...
Well, they usually wait for the tail end of the formation before, you know, they start throwing everything up.
Yeah.
You know, they did that. But our first mission was Frankfurt. And
right into Germany, huh?
yeah, that was kind of a rough one, you know. They had the bombs stuck in the bomb bay and bomb bay doors open going over the target. And bombs wouldn't come down.
Oh boy.
When they finally triggered them out, we were out of the bomb area and came back with the bomb bay doors open, and that's when I met the Lord.
How did you get them out?
Well, our armor gunner, who was the waist gunner at the time, he was the guy that was supposed to be in charge of making sure that the bombs went out of there once they were released by the bombardier. And he got them out there, laid on the catwalk with the bomb bay doors open, and just trailed each one of them out of there.
Boy, that had to be a sight, huh?
Oh, I tell you, it was scary.
Yeah.
And I was sitting back there in the tail over there and watching the flak coming up and busting. And yeah, you thought about your life at that time, you know.
Oh, I'm sure you did. You know, I mean, but you would.
But I think that was, all of them were tough, but to me that was the one that made you a man.
Yeah, yeah, it made you realize how important life is and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I was Air Force myself, and but long after you, of course, as was the B-52s, and so I'm kind of an airplane buff. So, and the B-17, the Flying Fortress, is what you were on, has always grabbed my attention. You know, what you guys went through. I mean, you know, you got into the bed of this plane, you had the air conditioning on, the music on, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, you had what was it, 6 or 7 guns on it, or the pilots up front there? And
Oh
there was a top
no,
gunner?
each station had twin calibers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
twin
you had
50s.
You had about 6 or 7, 6 stations.
Well, I had 2 with me, and the waist gunners had 1 each. The ball turret had 2. Top turret had 2. Bombardier and navigator each had 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the rotation of the ball turret and the top turret, that's what made it the Flying Fortress.
Well, I got to ask you a question. Would you rather have been a ball turret or a tail gunner?
No, after sitting in that ball turret, I was very happy being in the tail.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Because the ball turret to me was, once you were encased in there, if you had any kind of damage at all and couldn't get out, you couldn't get yourself out of there. Mm. You needed the
electrical. You were saying something before about, before we taped the show, that if the electric system got
knocked out, there was no way out unless somebody cranked you out of there.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's why I was very happy being in the tail. You know, but you could see a lot from the tail too. Yeah. You know, you can see east and west and directly south, you know, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was 22 interesting missions, I'll tell you. I don't know if I'd want to do it again, but I'm proud to have done what I did.
Oh, and we appreciate it too. I mean, you know, I've seen plenty of videos about the Flying Fortress, and that's what really was a fortress. It would take a beating.
Yeah, they did. Actually, the ground crew who flew a couple of missions were kind of upset if you brought your ship back full of holes.
That's a lot of work for them to fix it, right?
Yeah, they told. And the ground crew, I don't know if they were doing this to scare us or whatever, but they've told us where they've taken a hose and washed guys out of there.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I know that on these bombing runs, how many planes would you send up?
Oh, 12, 15 in a squad, plus whatever the group, I don't recall what the group total was, but the whole formation had to be somewhere 8, 9,000 planes.
Wow.
I mean, the Air Force on a bomb run, you know.
Yeah,
It's a lot of bombers.
yeah. And yeah, I've seen where a lot of them came back severely damaged. A lot of great men didn't make it back.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot. That was the most casualties during World War II was the Army Air Corps.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it was the infantry, but
Yeah.
actually it was the Army Air Corps.
Yeah.
You know.
They said that, and sometimes when you see some of these planes come back limping in and hoping that they make the landing and stay on their wheels, why, you kind of wonder about it, you know. But it was nice to see the ground crew all standing out there when you're coming back from a mission. They're all standing out there waiting for you to come down. You know, so. And that's a warm feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. You had some other photos you wanted to talk about in the book. You want to hold that book up and?
Well, just those two that I showed you about there. The other stuff that's in there is just maps of target areas.
This is like this is from your unit or this book?
Well, this is from the whole bomb group.
Okay.
The 490th group from the 8th Air Force. That's what this book is about. Now, I'm sure that each bomb group has got their own set of records, but that's what that's for. That's really the history of the 490th. It originally started out as a B-24 group and then graduated to the 17s.
And tell me a little bit about the mission, because like I was just joking that there obviously is no air conditioning and there is no music playing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a constant roar of the engine that you're listening to, right?
Yep.
And how long were your flights? You said you made, what, 22 missions?
Yeah, there's 22 bombing missions, yeah. And then when hostilities ended there, they had what we call chow-han missions, where we were dropping food as emergency stuff to the Dutch in Holland and in there. I was on 4 of those.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, well, it's in there. And we dropped food to the people, and German soldiers were down there just watching them come down. We had no armament, no guns, no protection of any kind going in there. Low-level flights. So you were just trusting that they were going to be fair about what was going to be doing, you know. So, but there were 4 of those and 22. I keep telling my friends and neighbors I was on 23. I was wrong about that till I started checking this because of our show here today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to give out bad information.
No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to correct that.
Yeah. So you fly over and drop supplies.
Yeah,
through the bomb bay doors.
Yeah. They just dropped them out, parachuted everything out of there, you know, and that was interesting to see, and people waving and thanking you for it, and they had flower beds designed out there with thank you GI and so on and so forth. You know, that was interesting to see that, you know. And that was very interesting for me because I was in the tail on that one, on those missions too. So, watching it.
Yeah.
But we were in there towards the, right around the beginning of April is when the Germans came out with their jet fighters.
Yeah, right. You have escorts?
Oh, yeah, we had the P-51s, God's angels were with us there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were usually out there for bait, but they were there when you needed them. Yeah, so.
Yeah. Did your bird get crippled up one time, or
yeah? We got crippled up at one time. You know that those 2 pictures that we had there were
the prop.
Props were bent, and the landing gear finally gave way on it. We blew it. Yeah, tire was blown out on it, and but everybody got out okay, and thank God for that. You know.
I bet you that that ball gunner there, he was glad to be out of
Oh,
that.
he had to be out of there. He had to be
Especially
out.
if the tire blew. I mean, he's close enough to the ground as it is.
Yeah, he was out of there before we even started the approach. That was one of the criteria we had to do. Yeah, that was.
Did you know? Now I read this somewhere, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. But the first two planes that were shot down when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor were B-17s. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
They
No.
were not armed.
I didn't know
And
that.
it was when they first started making, the B-17, and they were flying them somewhere, and the Japanese came in. They're going to bomb Pearl Harbor. They saw them, and they were afraid that they would say it, so they shot them down.
No, I didn't hear too much about that because I was only 16 when Japan hit Hawaii like that. But all I can remember is when President Roosevelt was made the announcement about declaring war, I was standing right next to our record player with my mom and dad, and I was watching him while the president was talking. And I could tell my mother, boy, she says, well, he's gone. And that's a picture I'll always keep in my mind.
Yeah. There are certain things in everyone's life that you just a photographic memory in your mind.
Yeah.
You have any brothers or sisters that served? Or?
Well, I have one brother who's deceased, and I had a brother who is living in Illinois right now. He was in the Navy, and he's a little shaky on his health right now. And
we thank him for his service. Hopefully he'll watch this show.
Yeah.
But
it was I'm very, very fortunate.
since you were only 16 at the time when when the president made that speech, I bet you didn't know this, but when he made that speech after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he was transported in an armored car, the very first armored car the government ever had, and it used to belong to Al Capone.
I heard that, but I
Find it hard to believe,
never
huh?
paid much attention to it, but I did hear that.
It's been trivia.
Yeah. Just goes to show you what government needs to rely on once in a while.
Yeah. Well, back then Capone had all the money anyway.
Yeah, well.
He could afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you did 22 missions, and you told me before it was 25 to go home, right?
Yeah.
But something happened, so you got to go back.
Well, the hostilities ended at 22 missions. That's when Germany's figured that's it. They had it, and that was okay. But I was back home in July of '45, and was scheduled for B-29 training and for the South Pacific. And then President Truman ordered the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, and that saved a lot of our lives. I give that man a lot of credit for having the guts to do that.
Yeah, that definitely was a tough decision, but like you said, it did save a lot of lives.
Yeah.
But so then you were released, or
Well,
from
with
the Army?
discharge,
Discharged.
Yeah, and went back to normal life.
Yeah, because during World War II, it ain't over till it's over there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
once
for
you
sure.
got into and the war was going on, you weren't going to say, well, I'm going to do a year or two and I'm going home. And,
Well, I gave it some thought, but then I figured, well, I still wanted to get back and play baseball, which never happened anymore, so, and just went on from there.
so what did you wind up doing when you got home?
Well, my dad gave me a good education playing the accordion.
Oh, yeah?
And I did that for 25 years. I made a living with that. Never got rich, but I made a living. And that kind of helped me going post-war.
You still play?
Not anymore. No, not since
Say we could have had some
Linda's
music on the
gone.
show.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's one of those things,
Did you play with any big orchestras? Or?
No. I just worked with small groups. I had an 8-piece band at my time by myself, but that didn't last too long. Mainly worked 3- and 4-piece groups. Mm-hmm. Did a lot of cocktail lounges and worked a lot of Holiday Inns. And I made a living. That's about all I did with it, you know. So no recordings or anything like that. Probably just as well.
So nowadays you're living in the villages.
Yep.
And what do you do to keep occupied? I see you bowl, obviously. Huh?
Well, I like to bowl, and I do play a lot of golf. Do golf every chance I get. Yeah.
How good are you?
Not good.
No.
Not good. No. Don't get any hopes up.
I met a friend of mine yesterday. I told you before. Howard Collins. He's been on the show several times. He's World War II. He was on the, as I told you, the Liberator. And he played golf yesterday. He's 85 years old. He shot an 81.
Well,
I said, you know what? He wants me to play. I said, you got to give me 20 mulligans. He says, I'll give you 20 mulligans, but you got to count them all. So I'm thinking as I get older, maybe I'll get better because I haven't got a chance of beating them right now.
No, well, I enjoy playing and I enjoy bowling, you know, and bowl with the team, with the Legion team, and we do on Thursday nights, and a nice bunch of people. And I'll tell you, I'm very wealthy with the friends that I have and friends that I've met, the Legion and in the area that I live in. I've been extremely blessed with that.
I'm going to throw a little trivia out there. We talked about this, but I wanted to, I'm sure our people watching at home and wherever have heard the expression Kilroy was here.
Yeah.
You know, and for the younger generations, I'm sure they haven't. But during World War II, there was this picture, and I think it's going to come up on the screen, of Kilroy was here. A lot of people don't know what that is, but he's engraved on a stone in the National War Memorial in Washington, D.C., the World War II monument, which you told me you're going to be going to, right?
I hope so.
I hope so, too. And very few people know about Kilroy. He was a 46-year-old shipyard worker, and his job up in the shipyard in Quincy was to go around and number the rivets that the workers completed. And there was a piecework kind of thing, so they would get paid by the rivet. Well, he'd mark them out with like a semi-wax lumber chalk. And later on, some people, somehow the markings came off, so they were getting paid twice because somebody else would go back and check, and they'd say, oh, those weren't counted, so these people were getting paid twice the amount of money that they should have been paid, and his boss found out. So Kilroy would go around, and he still marked it with the wax, but then he painted this image of the hands reaching over a wall with the nose, and says Kilroy was here, and that's, they finally found out who it was. I guess they found out a long time ago, and he was awarded a trolley car of some sort. But he was from Halifax, Massachusetts. And I just thought it was an interesting story because my generation, which is 60-something, we've heard about Kilroy and during World War II and everything, and I never knew what it was, you know, all about, who Kilroy was. But he was on everything, you know.
I've heard about him and I've seen those characters, and but I never knew what he really did. Now you explained to me, so I'm enlightened on that.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ever see any of them over when you were over there?
Yeah, I've seen the markings on them. Yeah.
Yeah, they said they wouldn't waste the time painting over something, you know, because they were so busy. So you used paint, and yeah. I thought that was a rather interesting story.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, if he was doing that, he was keeping tabs on what was going on, you know. That's good. God bless him, that's all.
Yeah.
So
you know, I find World War II very interesting, you know, with gentlemen like yourself, who, you know, what you went through, and, you know.
Well, there were a lot of us that did that, you know, and you got to give credit to every guy that put on a uniform,
And every gal.
Yeah, and the girls too. The girls.
Because during World War II, the women worked a lot in
You had the
manufacturing.
waves and the wax and the marionettes and whatever, you know. So they were everybody did their part.
So you're looking forward to going up there, and if you go up there, we might be going together. I'm kind of hoping maybe we'll be on the same flight together. Cause
that'd be great. I'd look forward to that. You know?
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
But if it happens.
Well,
but either way, we got to look for those markings. That monument where Kilroy was here.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
We'll tell everybody else about it.
If we're together on that, we'll look for them. Right?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So. I only have a couple more minutes to chat. Is there any particular one story or memory you have of World War II?
No, just the missions and their memories, and I don't really talk about that a whole lot. And my neighbors keep pushing me on it. I said, it's history. It's a memory, and it's something that's happened.
You know,
it's gone.
Tony, I get this a lot from a lot of guys. I've told this story numerous times. My uncle did not talk about it for many, many years. But you know what? The younger generations will never know and never appreciate what the older generations did unless men and women like yourself speak up and tell people what it was about. You know, you don't read this stuff in history books.
Well, that's the shame of it. You know, when I was growing up, I had an uncle who was in World War I. Yeah, he didn't talk much about it either, but in school we were taught about World War I and what it meant, what it was fought for, and so on and so forth, okay? But today, I'm just wondering if the younger generation of the kids just being born today will ever find out that there was a World War II.
Well, there are a lot of people out there, and that's one of the things this show does, is we try to preserve history, and so that people like yourself, will, get the recognition.
Well, the important thing is, what World War II was really fought about, protecting the Constitution and preserving it, and keeping life as it should be.
Yeah, because this is the greatest country in the world. But I'm out of time, my friend. So
well,
I want to thank you for coming.
My pleasure, to be honest.
And hopefully I will see you on an honor flight. If nothing else, I'll run into you over there at Lady Lake Legion. I got my Fruitland Park shirt on.
Well, I'll tell you what, you do that, I'll buy you a beer. How's that?
Okay. So
might even do a little better than that. Maybe a vodka tonic or something.
Okay.
Like that, right?
All right. Well, with that, I have to say goodbye. And this is how I do that. To all our active military out there, our veterans and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time. TV. We're still looking for guests, and we'd love to have you on. We're proud of what we've done in the past. So give us a call at 352-728-9707 and check us out on the internet at lakefronttv.com. Spread the word and enjoy the show.